Well, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG for a fireside chat with Hasbro. We're going to have a lot of fun today, hanging out, watching the Hasbro stream that goes live in about 20 minutes. So if you're watching this on the video on demand replay later on in the day, you can skip forward to the 20-minute mark of this video, and that will put you at the timeline where Hasbro is actually talking, and we'll kind of just react to it together. I've got the live chat. If you're watching back, you can actually turn on the live chat on YouTube too. But what's up, Andrew? Yukio Andrew here. So Hasbro basically today is doing a fireside chat. Very intriguing wording on that, where they are meeting with Magic the Gathering and chatting with the community, or I'm guessing they won't actually answer any questions, but we got the Andrews in town. Wow, we have 3 Andrews right off the gate. That's amazing. That is absolutely incredible. So I wanted to go through as we kind of wait for this and just kind of look at some. So this is where the fireside chat. I'm assuming there's going to be video, although it just says listen to webcast. I have no clue. We don't know anything about this. So I figured it might be wise to hop through and look at some of the articles that people have written about this. Hey, I'm glad that you did well on Unfinity, the first rule. Super awesome. All right, so this is this is Star City Games article. They basically like fireside chat with CEO Chris Cox and Wizards of the Coast Cynthia Williams. Oh, I didn't realize that it's the digital gaming president. I wonder if they focus entirely on. Can you imagine this fireside chat that everyone is super excited about? And it's all about Arena. There's no regular Magic conversation. I will be so pissed. Anyway, the chat's in 20 minutes. Hosted by UBS, which is a wealth management company. What's up, Steve? Bruins fan in the chat. It's just a webcast, so it'll be interesting if there's audio. No other details on the subject are known. And this is interesting, and I think this is what they're going to focus on. Hasbro's basically saying this is a webcast on Magic the Gathering, and they're going to focus on this info. This is the title that Hasbro wishes was going on in the Magic world, which is Magic has been labeled as Hasbro's first $1 billion brand. And that kind of came out, and then all of a sudden, like the Magic 30 stuff happened that kind of took the spotlight. What's up, Richard? Appreciate you, my friend. So I really think they focus in on this, on all the positives of the $1 billion brand. I honestly think that we will all be disappointed if we want to see anybody talk through this like downgrade and that kind of thing to the underperform. So it'd be super interesting to see what they actually talk about. Let's see what. So that was Star City Games. This is mtgrocks.com. This is kind of what we're going to be anticipating. They say the same thing. Their Hasbro decreed Magic was first $1 billion brand. I think we're going to see a lot of that. So yeah, I think basically this fireside chat thing is a way for them to try to change the tone of the community and give us, hopefully their idea is to give us something positive to talk about. I want to see a couple things in this, and I'm going to give you my hopes, and I have zero expectation that this happens. But I want to see them come to the table and say something along the lines of, we've gone too far and we are going to scale back the number of products. We are going to scale back. I know they won't do this. Okay. Again, I know they won't do this. We're going to have the audio live. We're going to all react to it together. It's going to be fun to listen through, and I will try to not talk super much as they are talking, but we'll kind of interact together. I would love for them to say, we are printing too many products. We are releasing too much products. And then I would also like them, I know they won't, but I would like them to say that we rose the prices too high on those products. So that's my firm belief, is that Magic fans just aren't willing to pay the new prices for products. And so hopefully they are identifying that. Yeah, Don, I agree with you. It blows my mind that when I bought and played beta Magic all the way back to Fallen Empires to see how the game has become. Yeah. Yeah. So they're kind of take your better late than never. They're pretty hype on them actually coming out and trying to fix some stuff on this MTG Rocks article. Suggests that Fireside Chat is Hasbro's attempt at some serious damage control. Reddit user Artie Fowl said, "This is going to be damage control to the most shenanigan degree." Players to get ready for a bunch of vetted, teed up softball questions. I agree with that. Man, you buy a box every 2 weeks and still can't keep up. Oh, yes. Simon, I totally agree. We are all going to be disappointed, but we will be disappointed together. And that is the point. No matter what, we will be together and we will be disappointed together. And that'll be fun. You know, that'll be enjoyable for us. Reddit user Foam said, "For those unaware, these are usually aimed at investors and shareholders, not at customers." I agree with that. They will likely be addressing the recent downgrade of their stock. I mean, listen, them addressing that, there's no way that they can address that without talking about some of the issues in my mind. So, yeah. They should offer to buy a stack of 30th and re-release a real 30th stack. Yeah. Disappointment together is more fun. All right, the last article I wanted to pull up before we actually get started here is this IVC2 article. Just again, them announcing this. They seem to focus a lot on the 30th anniversary sale. The brand has also been the target of a recent greed social media movement. Should we get the greed card in the chat? MTG greed card. Have you guys seen them spamming this in the in like the live? Oh, that's TCG player. How is that card not spiking right now? Like as a meme. That card should spike as a meme. I think we should get behind that. We should just have this up though the whole time. I think that'll work. Nope. There we go. We'll just keep this one. There we go. We got the greed card. Back in the day, we would flip a card for ante. In some games, a Mox was on the line. Man, that is more than I could have done. Make the greed card the frame for the video in the art box. I don't know if I can do that real quick. I could do that if I had more time. I was the kiddos were crazy yesterday, so I wasn't able. I made a video yesterday and my SD card crashed. I couldn't get it back, but and then my wife and I have been watching 1899, and so we've been super into that. So I didn't have time to do that, but that would have been great, Gen XE. Thanks, Brokilla, for ordering some May the Zoo Be With You shirts. I just released. I haven't worn them, but I just got new Be Kind hoodies. They'll be here this week, and then I'll tell people about them. Appreciate you for buying some merch over at KitchenTableTCG.com. So I want to know, chat, what's your expectations here? It's seeming like a lot of the chat is saying they're going to do nothing. They're not going to really address any of the issues with Magic. But what's your other thoughts? If they do address the issues, what are the issues that you want them to address? Simon, I anticipate they will talk about market pressure to increase value in products and how they can strategically position newer experiences with a Magic gun. Yeah. They have to address something about the controversy. Yeah, maybe. Cut print run 25%. So, oh my gosh, they're going to announce the sale of Wizards of the Coast. I doubt it. That would be amazing. Can you imagine that if that's what this is? That they sell Wizards of the Coast? Listen, I mean, that's actually not like the worst take, because they've been propping up the value of Wizards of the Coast with all these products. Like, that's actually like not a terrible take to say Hasbro is cashing in on all these Magic, IP and things like that to raise the price of Wizards of the Coast so that when they sell it off, it's worth more. The issue with that is there's really no rumors of anybody who wants to buy Wizards of the Coast right now. All right. They will also say their stock downgrade was due to general trends in consumer spending. Yeah, I agree with that. Tyler Broughton, we made a mistake. Blake mentioned they delayed Phyrexia, all will be one. Good. I am like opposite of excited for that set for some reason. I think my issue with that set is that there's so many sets about Phyrexia coming up. Cue the South Park. All right. Should we get that ready? Adam, you want me to get that ready for us? Shipping Secret Layers to Australia is $120. They should just have like a international shipping hub for Europe and the down unders. I won't be buying Dominaria Remastered as to save for Phyrexia. Too many releases too close. Yeah. Blaming consumers is certainly something I think they will not do. They got a ton of pushback for that. I would be very, very, very I will be very surprised if they are not very calculated in the way that they communicate today. Got about 10 minutes, everyone. Let's see if they've refreshed anything. I really hope there's video to this and not just audio. But webcast seems like it might just be audio. Ooh, I have to register? Owner. This is wild. I registered. I'm expecting Rosewater to directly address Rudy and explain his surname is not actually Bottom Water. How can a new player get in with so many products? How would they want to know what to get? There's just so many products, so many versions. Yeah. We did not record the podcast last night because of this. So we are actually recording the podcast today at 5:00. So the podcast will be us debating it. I'm sure George will be on Hasbro's side. The podcast will be us debating this and having conversation about it and sharing our thoughts on it in a deeper way. This will be kind of like a live react to it and conversation with the chat. I'm super intrigued to hear your guys' takes live as we are going through this. Because I think as you see in Magic content, when something happens, often the community takes on the role of the content creators. So I'm really interested to see, like, I'm not a big Magic content creator, so you won't be taking on the role of me necessarily. I'm interested to see your guys' live reaction before Rudy makes a video, before the Magic Historian makes a video, before Tolarian Community College makes a video. So it's super interesting to see that live reaction rather than a reaction that's been marred by other people's opinions. I hope it's an hour of a dude throwing Magic 30 into the fireplace. That's great. Good morning, Wes. Appreciate you, my friend. Commander is what 75% of players play. I just started this year. Arena is great to learn, though. I think Arena is a great learning tool for Magic. I think that's great. I just wish, like, if Magic came out and they were like, we're putting Arena code cards in Magic boxes, I would be so amped up for the future of Magic the Gathering. It's unbelievable. What's up, DM Multiverse? What up, Mooch Hound? Good evening from S. I'm guessing... Oh, Sketchkin? I can't pronounce that. Sketchkin? Just kept my Pauper decks. I've had the most fun on that. Oh, Pauper's so much fun. We play Pauper every Monday night at Captain's Market. And my new thing is, instead of just playing my popper deck, I rotate every week and I play a new deck. This week I did mono white weenies. So much fun to play. Oh my gosh, so much fun. I bought multiple pre-releases and I could only use codes once. I didn't read the fine print. Oh, Northwest Poland. I can pronounce Poland. Every individual pre-release comes with 6-pack code card for that set and arena. Oh, that's cool. I actually didn't know that. So that's fine. Like Pokemon, every single pack has a code card to get a pack. And like, I get it, like they're losing money on the back end of that, but can you imagine the amount of players that would hop in to learn how to play and to, like, I don't know, I just think it would be great. Yeah, Wes, I think that's been the consensus of the chat, is that this is going to be nothing great and that we'll all be disappointed together. That's the goal, to be disappointed together. I agree, major reaction. The interactions that you get when you play at a table and when you hang out together and get to go back and forth, when you counterspell somebody, you get to actually see their face and their reaction. Like, that's an important scenario in the world of Magic the Gathering. That the gathering part is super important. All right, what are the odds that this is just audio and no video? It can't be audio because it's a fireside chat. Like, there has to be a fireplace. There has to be a fireplace here to make it a fireside chat, right? That's my family motto, disappointed together. The only thing I'm expecting is him sitting by the fireplace dressed like Mr. Rogers and sipping on hot cocoa while telling us we're all wrong about 30. If Paper Magic product included arena codes, I'd actually reinstall Arena. As it stands with Alchemy, I left it. So I actually have a hot take that eventually Arena will be a completely different Magic the Gathering game that will be way more Alchemy-esque and moving. And because online games like that, one of the advantages of the online game is that they can make changes without printing new cards and that kind of thing. It's interesting though, for sure. Darth Vader Yule log in the corner so we can keep it real. All right, let's get it. Darth Vader Yule log. Wow, everyone's streaming this, huh? This one? Hold on, let me get another one. You guys can't hear this. Ah, live editing. Just in case they don't have a fire, I have a fireplace for you guys. The Darth Vader Yule log, I love it. Hold on, I gotta get audio for you guys. It makes it way better. I assume you can't hear it. Application music. There you go. Let me know if it's too loud or too not loud. There you go. You got the Darth Vader Yule log in there. Oh, you have, yeah, so you can send questions here. What's up? It's a little loud in my ears. So this is up now, but it's not doing anything. You think they'll actually put their faces forward to defend their company? This is what Blake's for. He's the punching bag. Where do you guys want Darth Vader? You want him up here? You want him down here? I think down here is the best spot. Let's see. We got audio on. We're just waiting for them. We got 2 minutes, everyone. Get your final opinions in the chat, everyone. Get your final opinions. Should we send questions in? Look at where their question is. Send a question to somebody at ubs.com. Yes, Andrew, you are going to get a video of the card sorter. I've been my family life's been crazy. Christmas is nuts. I've also got a video about a card sorting tray I want to do. Should we send them in a question? What questions should we send them in? Anybody? I'm going to send a question right now. To Arpine. I can't pronounce that. KOCHARYAN at ubs.com. All right, what should we ask them? What do you want to hear? What do you guys want me to ask them? Just copy and paste, Lou. Oh, well, I'm doing it on my phone because I don't have email on this computer. Oh, a greed card pick would be great. Should I just send that? What the hell? What is Mark Bottomwater and internal... What is Mark Bottomwater? An internal project name? That's good. Can you... What percentage of Magic 30 sold? Greed pick, and then is Mark Bottomwater a code name? All right, gotta paste the greed pick. Is Mark Bottomwater a code name? All right, sent. Ask if names change in Magic the Dispersing. All right, we got it's time. They are now officially late. They are now officially late, everyone. We've got our fireside chat going. We've got our Darth Vader. They are now officially late. Come on, Hasbro. I got takes to make. Oh, here we go. Oh, please be what? Can we see their live chat? Oh, I doubt it. That's probably why they're doing this. What up, Jake and Joel are Magic? Oh, refresh. I refreshed. This is how they quit. I don't think you can see their live chat because this is like a not YouTube live thing. It's just like a investor meeting thing. I'm going to hit the button again. It just goes to this. Ah! Rickroll. Let's just keep the greed picture up. Everyone, make sure you hit subscribe, hit the like button, join along with me here.
And thanks for joining us today. television and gaming analyst with UBS, and we are really excited to have with us for a fireside chat Chris Cox, Chief Executive Officer of Hasbro, and Cynthia Williams, President of Wizard of the Coast and Digital.
Can you guys hear it?
And Debbie Hancock, Head of Investor Relations at Hasbro. The focus of this call is going to be Hasbro's franchise brand, Magic the Gathering, and Hasbro's long-term strategy for its gaming business. Excuse me. But before I go any further,
all right, it's just audio.
Analyst, I'm required to provide certain disclosures relating to the nature of my own relationship and that of UBS with any company on which I express a view on this call today. These disclosures are available at ubs.com/disclosures, or please reach out to me and I can provide them to you after this call. Also, there will be no discussion of any confidential, restricted, or material non-public information on this call. This is only a 30-40 minute call, so we might not have time to open the lines for Q&A, but feel free to send me questions by email if we don't address them on the call. With all of that out of the way, Chris, Cynthia, Debbie, welcome, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having us, Arpine.
Thanks. Wonderful.
It's great to be here.
Thank you, Debbie. And I know you need to read some disclosures before we begin. Is that?
Yeah, I also have to do a short disclosure. So thank you for having us today. Just before we begin, I want to remind everyone that we may make some forward-looking statements. Our management team may make forward-looking statements concerning our expectations, goals, objectives, or similar matters, and that there are many factors that could cause actual results or events to differ materially from the anticipated results or other expectations expressed in these forward-looking statements. And the factors are in our annual report on Form 10-K, our most recent 10-Q, and other public disclosures.
Okay,
we undertake no obligation to update any forward-looking statements made today to reflect events or circumstances occurring after the date of this webcast. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Chris, why don't we start with you? You've been CEO of Hasbro since February. Obviously, unprecedented times, middle of a global pandemic, supply chain challenges and disruptions. But as we look forward, could you please update us on Hasbro's kind of branded entertainment strategy and how is that different from what that strategy was before?
Yeah, well, hey, first off, thanks so much for having us. It's great to be on and be able to share a little bit of insight on the company, and particularly one of our favorite brands, Magic the Gathering. I think Cynthia will have a wealth of information to share on that. So in terms of our corporate strategy, the new strategy that we rolled out in October, we call Brand Blueprint 2.0. It's a continuation and an evolution of the successful blueprint strategy that we've been deploying for a little over a decade, which is all around the concept of engaging and surrounding the consumer with a host of great play and storytelling experiences that build our brand, build our relationship with the consumer, and help us build a profitable and healthy business. You know, where I think the big points on the pivot on the strategy are in a couple areas. First off, we're shifting from a bit more of a breadth strategy with our old strategy to be more focused on a depth strategy. We call it fewer, bigger, better brands. Hasbro has over 1,500 IP in our portfolio, and we're really going to focus in on about 8 to 10 brands and really grow them. And those brands are going to be in places that we have a lot of strength as a company, gaming being a big one, where we believe we could be the leader in the category, where we can drive above category growth, and where we can drive really nice profit profiles over the mid and long term. The second aspect of the strategy is a focus on the consumer and really doubling down on our consumer insights, on understanding our consumers, and then also how we communicate with our consumers, increasing our A&P budgets, driving new and innovative experiences with the consumer, surrounding them with a host of engagement opportunities, whether that's big budget movies like we have with the upcoming D&D Honor Among Thieves movies, or great video games like we have with Magic the Gathering Arena. And then last but not least, strategy,
great video games.
A focus on discipline, really driving incremental operational excellence as a company so that we can pair the fantastic creativity and design we have with, stronger cost management. And we believe that we're going to be able to accrue significant value of that. In October, we talked about a goal to generate $250 to $300 million of cost savings annually over the next 3 years. We believe we're on track to do that and potentially even exceed that. And, I think that's just good business, whether or not it's healthy economic times or more challenging economic times. It'll position Hasbro to be able to invest in our brands and deliver more cash to shareholders. I think when you put it all together, what Blueprint 2.0 really is it's a redoubling and a refocusing on our traditional mission of play. Hasbro is going to celebrate our 100th anniversary next year. We have this portfolio of amazing brands, and we've built those brands through play, starting as early as the ages of 2 to 3 and extending on into adulthood. And Blueprint 2.0 puts our focus squarely on our biggest brands with our best consumer insight and driving a little bit more discipline to pair with our great innovation and creativity.
Fantastic. That was great for opening, Chris. Thank you. Cynthia, as Chris mentioned, Hasbro has a strong gaming portfolio unparalleled really in the industry, making up a significant portion of profits for the overall company. Could we talk about your largest brand, Magic the Gathering? And could you start by giving us a brief overview of where that business is today? And then I have a quick follow-up for you, Cynthia.
Sure. Well, thank you, Arpane, for having us. First of all, it's my pleasure to talk about Magic. It is really an amazing game with an incredible fan base.
This is the
Magic
arena
was
lady, right?
created in 1993, and it's the world's first trading card game. Been played by over 50 million players to date in over 200 countries. The
50 million
gameplay
players.
is highly strategic and customizable to any individual's play style. Players take turns doing battle against each other by casting spells, summoning creatures, and using artifacts that are depicted on individual
I'd like to know where they got the 50 million
that the
player number from.
From their personalized deck. Magic also offers multiple formats of play, which determine the types of cards or the number of cards a player uses.
Is this the Wikipedia article?
Some of those formats are more competitive and some are more casual, which offers a wide variety.
I think this is just the Wikipedia article.
Options. We release new cards through expansion sets multiple times a year. And there's really nearly a limitless combination that players can use to suit their different play styles. And that all leads to a very high level of customization.
And they're going to get into colors of Magic.
That's fantastic. Cynthia, when we think about Hasbro, we frequently think about kids, but Magic is not typically played by kids. What can you tell us and people on the call about the Magic player today and how that has been evolving?
They are angry.
We know a lot about our players. Multiple times a year, we survey tens of thousands of Magic fans on a variety of topics related to the game. The Magic active tabletop player on average is 30 years old. Players range from about 13 years old to over 45. I think it's important to know that 1/3 of our players have less than 3 years of experience with the game, and another third has been playing for more than 10 years. And so you end up with this wide range of engagement.
If that's true, that's actually pretty cool.
We also look at how and why they play. We've seen growth in casual players who we estimate represent about 80% of the player base, with the competitive player representing the remaining. And this single insight has really led to a major rethinking of our offering and how to serve our growing and more diverse player base. Players and fans participate across multiple segments and they overlap. For example, in the casual segment, the format that's most popular and played by more than 70% of our players.
I know this one.
Is a social format called Commander.
Yes, thank you.
It's played by 4 players at a time, and it has a really unique and cooperative rule set.
Is this the Wikipedia article?
Product releases to maximize this fan engagement. Over half of our players identify as social players, meaning that they enjoy the game for the social experience. And about 50% are collectors of some kind, whether it be buying the cards for a themed Commander deck, strictly for aesthetic purposes, or as an outlet for self-expression through their gameplay. And finally, I'd say we have over 10 million registered digital players with Magic Arena. And in the past few years, Our fastest growing category of Magic players are the hybrid players, meaning they play on both digital and tabletop. And this group tends to have the highest satisfaction rates with the game and the highest level of spending. In fact, they spend 40% more than the average revenue of Magic players across all expressions.
So if you play on Arena, you spend 40%
That
more.
was
That makes
just
sense.
great. I don't think I've ever heard
You're playing
this
in a different
much
format.
of good color on kind of the player profile. So this was super helpful. Thank you. My next question is for both Chris and you, Cynthia. Chris, you were leading Wizards until earlier this year. Could you talk to us about how you grew that business? And then Cynthia, one of the key questions I get on Magic is that after an incredible run of 4 or 5 years of above average growth and Arena rollout, that business is much bigger today. So if you were to recap what's next for Magic and how you grow that business going forward, because every gaming company on investors' minds saw uptick during COVID and now seeing the reversal of that, why could MTG be different and how you intend to grow that business going forward?
Sure. So I'll start off. So
This is Chris
Magic
Cox.
has been, gosh, I would argue one of the biggest success stories in the games category over the last probably decade. I was fortunate enough to start in the business in 2016 after the business had grown, I think, for 7 straight years. We had started to see a little bit of a plateauing in that growth in 2014 and 2015. And so we started to really understand, okay, why was that? And in 2016, when Magic, was probably around $350-ish million, maybe $400 million at that time, we really had a monolithic view of the player. We thought there was one player, it was the competitive player. And we knew that there were other player segments that existed, like casual players and collectors. But we honestly were a little afraid that if we built products that deviated at all from our traditional approach of appealing.
Yeah, this is just an ad to the consumers or to the investors.
And what we found was actually the opposite. If we were able to segment our player profiles in just really simple ways, so call it the competitive player, the social player, and the collector, and build products that were bespoke to each of them, we could make that each of those segments happier.
What was it? Competitive?
We could engage them more. We could get more of their time and more of their share of wallet and grow the business as a whole. And as a result, over that intervening 6.5 year period, we've probably either tripled or come close to tripled the overall Magic business. And we've been able to do it across a wide set of products, a wide set of segments that have made the business healthier than ever. And we've been able to do it in a fairly balanced way, where we've been able to balance new player growth with lapsed player reacquisition, because there's probably like close to 60 million people in the world who have ever played Magic. So actually people coming back to Magic is just as important to us as new players who've never played it before, as well as driving a little bit of revenue growth per user through that segmentation approach, which has been good for us, and it's been good for our channel partners, whether that's hobby stores, mass stores, or e-commerce partners like Amazon.
Good for our channel partners.
Great.
Cynthia,
And
I'll turn the
I don't know
second
if
part of the
Cynthia.
question maybe over to you.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about a little bit about our plans to continue to grow Magic, especially in 2023 and beyond. And I will say we do have some good tailwinds that are aiding us. Primarily that we are seeing this bold return to in-person play. Magic really thrives on that face-to-face interaction that wasn't able to happen during the pandemic.
Pandemic, code
in-store
words.
Play participation numbers are trending up, and they're already back to about 75% of where they were pre-pandemic. We recently organized the largest ever in-person event in Magic's history. We had over 10,000 players gather in person in Las Vegas to kick off our 30th anniversary celebration. It was such an encouraging and fun fan event. And we plan on having 4 more of those Magic Cons next year. Our first one will be in Philadelphia on February 17th through the 19th. We've been releasing 6 tentpole sets for several years. We'll do that again in 2023. with our new player acquisition strategy focused on the Universes Beyond line. This year we have the Lord of the Rings as a big tentpole release, and we also have smaller sets like Doctor Who that will attract in new players. In future years, you'll see us do the same with Final Fantasy and Assassin's Creed, which will join the franchise. And of course, we'll be celebrating Magic's 30th anniversary with our fans. The Magic Cons I mentioned, we'll be releasing new products, and we're especially excited to help our trade partners and our fans by offering exclusive promo cards from each year of Magic that will be available exclusively through our Wizards Play Network stores with every
we already knew all this
tentpole
stuff.
set release.
This is nothing's
Magic
changed.
is bigger than it's ever been. It's on pace to become Hasbro's first billion-dollar brand. And our surveys show that our Net Promoter Score globally has increased to the highest point it's been at in the past 3 years.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Cynthia, maybe this is a question for you regarding Arena, which has been obviously a huge success. I remember back in the day before MTG digitization, the big pushback or concern for investors was whether there was going to be cannibalization of that business once you go digital. And now we know it was actually additive to the business. But my question is there more to do in terms of monetizing kind of the digital aspects of the Magic franchise?
Absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, our hybrid players are the most engaged and they spend the most. So our efforts around Magic Digital will drive increased play and integration across both tabletop and our digital platforms. Wizards Play Network stores are telling us that they see new players coming into their store who are ready to join that community after they learn to play Magic on Arena. So Magicthegathering Arena.
I have not seen that at my store.
Been a great success for us, but it still has room to grow as we continue to invest to meet the needs of that wide range of players. So in 2023, Arena will refactor our new player experience to improve onboarding for new players and help them quickly find the play experiences that appeal to them the most. This will reinforce our acquisition efforts and maximize the impact of our launch on Steam, which is the biggest gaming platform in the world outside of mobile. And it will be our largest platform expansion since our mobile launch last year. We'll continue to engage new players and longtime Magic players with our expanding product releases and our event offerings, including our first digital Universes Beyond set featuring Lord of the Rings. We've seen really great engagement with our premier play launch this year, and 2023 will see our first full year of Arena Championships and qualifier weekends, as well as our increasingly popular Arena Opens.
Great, thank you. And Chris, maybe this is a question for you. Inflation has been top of mind for investors, and ability to take on pricing also has been important. And we have seen kind of more traditional toy sector take on pricing throughout the pandemic, really. But as I think about kind of price elasticity of demand for Magic, in my mind at least, that is an overall less price elastic customer versus a kind of more traditional toy consumer. First, do you think my assumption is correct? Second, do you believe pricing along with unit growth could drive Magic over the next couple of years?
Yeah, I think just the straight answer to your question is yes, it tends to be a less price elastic customer, but obviously there's logical limits to that. We're very aware across our business of the pressures that the general consumer is under and the general discretionary pressure, the discretionary sector is under vis-a-vis inflation. We have taken some pricing actions across our lineup at Hasbro. And, this year we took a pricing action on about half of the Magic line, the first time we've done that in 10 years. And, we're very reluctant to do that. We've got a great brand, we've got a great product. The challenge that we've had is there's just been a lot of cost buildup inside of the general paper market. Paper pulp is more expensive, significantly more expensive than it's been over the last couple of years. and the general trading card market, whether it's kind of fantasy or gamified trading cards like Magic, or more sports-oriented trading cards, have seen explosive growth. So there's a fair amount of printing press demand that drives up some cost pressures. Now, all that said, when we look at how we think about Magic over time, Cynthia would be the expert at this, but I don't think it's about raising prices on Magic cards or raising prices on Magic packs. At the end of the day,
Who made a $1,000 pack?
Growing our player base, and it's about leaning into our segmentation strategy and adding products that our players want and have a lot of play value and collector's value. Mm-hmm. And I think Cynthia and the team have been doing a very adept job of that. Certainly we have some of the best experts in the company driving that for us.
Great, and that's actually a good segue to my question for Cynthia, which is, if it isn't price, are you releasing then more product this year? Could you sort of go through pillars of growth?
It's not like this for
Magic, and if you can briefly address D&D, but then we'll get back to D&D in a bit. But if you could just sort of go through kind of those pillars of growth as you see for Magic. And I'm sorry, some of this could be a bit of a repeat of what you said earlier, Cynthia.
Absolutely fine.
All right, hold on.
Our growth is coming from both our customer and...
I'll refresh it there. Sorry, I'm trying to fix it.
And as a result, we're serving more player segments than ever before. And so there's been a shift in how many SKUs we release in a year. So for example, we've been on a cadence of 6 tentpole releases a year for over 3 years now. And there are major releases that have the most to offer every kind of Magic player. With each of those tentpole releases, we have expanded the number of booster product types to meet player preferences, including adding set boosters. And
people are just confused. People are just, they don't know what to buy.
Smaller print run products sprinkled between those tentpole releases that are opt-in, depending on what type of player you are and what resonates with you. So we have a collectible product line called Secret Lair, and we do some smaller sets like Infinity that fall in that category. But if I were summarizing it, I'd say our growth has come from monetizing more player segments and not just from increasing the spend of the same core set of players. And our product release schedule really reflects that. But I will say that in the second half of 2022, we had a really compressed release schedule that was partially driven by supply chain issues. We will not schedule tentpole releases this closely together going forward. The supply chain issue I referenced resulted in 2 micro sets releasing on the same date in October. Mm-hmm. But in 2023, we will return to our preferred release cadence of approximately 2 months between our tentpole sets, with individual micro sets sprinkled in between. You asked about D&D really briefly. I'll say that you'll see
still too much
leaning heavily into the expansion of D&D through D&D Beyond, the acquisition that we did that closed this past May. We have about 13 million customers, registered users there that we will continue to serve.
I worry that D&D's future is Magic's future, that they're going to go more
and we'll have
digital.
Time, hopefully, if we have time to come back to D&D briefly after we're done sort of with Magic. But Cynthia, I have a follow-up for you. There has been this claim that you're printing too many cards. What is your one sentence answer to that, or maybe 2 sentences, whatever you prefer?
I'm going to go a little more than 2 sentences.
Yeah, I would love that.
Most of our Magic releases and our SKUs are print to demand. And this means that we print and reprint products in a set to support players and customers who want to buy it, usually to play with it. And after an initial sell-in period prior to the launch of a set, all reorders after that set reflect real demand. And our average post-launch sales quantities for our tentpole premiere sets remains unchanged in 2022 compared to 2021. In aggregate, there is no evidence that Magic is overprinted. And the sentiment of Magic needs to cut print runs to support prices, that's a misunderstanding of our business and our customers. You know, if our prices for a print to demand product rise significantly soon after launch, well, that simply means that we're not adequately meeting customer demand, and we are making millions of players unhappy at their lack of ability to acquire the cards they want to play.
No, that's really helpful. And I do want to go.
Here's your
back
evidence.
briefly
There's
to
your
illustration,
evidence.
Cynthia. With all this kind of player segmentation, what is the primary way you're getting Magic product into players' hands, and how that has changed versus 5 years ago?
Sure. Our partnership with the more than 6,000 global Wizards Play Network hobby stores, that is the core sales channel for our business. It accounts for up to 70% of our sales in 22 year to date. And we are really delighted that we can support those passionate local small business owners to provide unique opportunities for our fans to engage in organized play and to build community at the local level. And this is really at the heart of our engagement strategy, and it has great benefits for both parties, as indicated by our survey data. Every year, we carry out a survey among the WPN hobby stores, and we collected feedback this year from more than 2,200 of them. It's a large representative sample, and it gives us a really good pulse on their health. And we're pleased to see that this channel continues to grow, has strong performance. More than 80% of our stores reported that they are growing or equal to last year, and over 60% report growth in their business. Now, over the last 5 years, we've continued to evolve our omni-channel retail strategy. That involves continuing to expand our footprint at retail globally, e-commerce, as well as developing our direct.
These people have no clue.
Fantastic.
They have no clue.
Cynthia, maybe this is still for you. There has been some chatter, kind of secondary market for these cards, and that values are coming down because you're printing too much. Is that something that you can back off? Is that something that concerns you?
You know, first and foremost, Magic is a deep and strategic game that is played in hobby stores, on kitchen tables, and online. So our goal is to continue to grow that player base. And as I said previously, we print and reprint products to meet demand from our players. You know, Magic will be our first billion-dollar brand this year, and we're growing that brand ahead of the industry and pushing.
Then why have collector
where
boxes?
we can take the product. More often than not, we get that right, like our Universes Beyond product, Warhammer 40K, which is already on its third reprint due to demand. And sometimes we step back and we listen to customer feedback, like we did on our recent 30th anniversary edition, where we scaled back the expected supply to assure a great collector experience. Now, that decision might not have been great for us in the short term financially, but it was definitely the right call for the long-term health of the brand, and it's good for our fans. Now, we do understand that some players focus on the collectible trading aspects of our product, and we are always thrilled to see players enjoying and valuing our product for years after the initial release. But we don't participate in secondary market activity for Magic products, nor do we derive any revenue from trading or selling. What we do hear from some of our WPN stores that trade and sell cards after initial sale is that, like any market or any other collectible product, some products and individual cards do become more collectible than others, and values can change over time due to a multitude of external factors, many entirely unrelated to the number of cards printed. Now, we have no indication that there has been any broad negative changes to interest in trading or post-purchase selling of Magic products. It could be easy for someone who is unfamiliar with our pre-release sales strategy to draw a negative conclusion about changes in resale values shortly after the release. But the truth is that Magic products are regularly put on sale early, exclusively through our WPN stores, as part of a pre-release program that is designed to encourage in-store play at those stores. It is common and expected for the secondary market values for those new products to shift dramatically during and immediately following pre-release as more products become available in the market. Those value shifts are simply supply catching up with demand.
Yeah, I do think there's a fair amount of misunderstanding about all of this. So thank you for that.
Oh, we're not.
And I am scanning through some of the questions I've been getting, but let me just sort of address one that also has come up. You know, talent acquisition and retention, I know has been, and the fact that Magic
we're gonna react to all this after
tech is something that Hasbro has been pretty focused on as you build those teams. I'm wondering if that has eased a bit in terms of hiring and retention, given what's going on in the big tech world.
Yeah, you know, we've hired over 350 people this year at Wizards of the Coast, and given the macroeconomic climate, we are also seeing some availability of amazing talent in the market. And our attrition is low compared with other gaming companies. You know, people want to work at Wizards for a number of reasons. Primarily, they're working on games they love. Our games.
Hey, we are going to revisit that 35-minute question.
Passionate fans.
We're going to revisit this at the end. We're going to go back, just so you guys know.
Games that they've grown up playing. And of course, it's always great to work on a business that is growing and being invested in.
Great. And this
that was amazing.
Perhaps both for Chris and you, Cynthia. I was wondering if you could share your vision on how you approach D&D monetization and digitization, and how that's going to be different from Magic.
I don't care about D&D.
And really how you approach that in general. If we could give kind of an overview of that here in terms of what's next for D&D and how that franchise is different from when you were looking at Magic back in 2017, 2018. Oftentimes, the question I get from investors is, how do you digitize a game that's been around for 50 years, right? Magic, D&D is obviously older than Magic. And along with that, perhaps we can touch on how the integration of D&D and beyond is going, growth in transactions or whatever you could share.
Mind if I start, Chris?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I'd have to add is every time you talk about the hiring rate at Wizards, I am just absolutely floored. Marpine, my family still lives in Seattle. I live here in Providence.
Oh my gosh, they're literally
offices. And it's like I'm a senior. It's like I'm a graduated senior returning the next year to high school, and I don't recognize half the class. It's a tribute to. It's a tribute to that.
They love each other.
Great job that the team's doing.
They're all about each other.
Oh, thank you, Chris. You know, D&D has never been more popular, and we have really great fans and incredible engagement. But the first thing I saw with it is the brand is really under monetized. Earlier this year, we acquired D&D Beyond, and we're really excited about the
give us your money
the platform provides and the positive momentum we've already seen. We made this acquisition to strengthen our connection to players and to power our next phase of product development.
All about the players. All about the players. No money.
Have live service tools through which we gain really valuable data-driven insights. You know, with DDB, we have a window into how fans are playing the game daily. Even if they're playing around the dining room table, many of our D&D fans use Dungeons and Dragons Beyond as a companion app on their phone to make the experience better. And this gives us a look at how people are playing in their homes that we never had before. And so when we think about our future monetization, we start here. You know, dungeon masters, which are the people who guide you through the adventure, they only make up about 20% of the audience, but they are the largest share of our paying players. And for the rest of the players at the table, we believe digital will allow us to offer a lot more options to create rewarding experiences post-sale that helps us unlock the type of recurrent spending you see in digital games, where more than 70% of the revenue in digital gaming comes post-sale. The speed of digital means that we're able to expand from what is essentially a yearly book publishing model to a recurrent spending environment. And we're offering content that we know fans want. So we're super excited about the type of opportunities we have with D&D to expand beyond the tabletop to reach
Just play
highly
D&D
engaged
3.5, everyone.
multi-generational fans all around the globe.
Yeah, and I think the only thing I'd add to that answer is,
Poor D&D players.
if you look at like a super simplified view of the strategy of Wizards of the Coast, Magic is this super deep single quadrant brand. Does a fantastic job engaging a very loyal and passionate audience. And I think our strategy at Wizards that Cynthia and the team are really leaning into is growing that engagement and growing that player base over the next several years, so that our new player growth and our reacquired player growth are really kind of carrying the growth of the brand. And you can see that in the initiatives that we're investing in, like expanding distribution of Arena. Steam is the biggest PC distribution platform in the world. That should be a nice kind of leg up for Arena. We also continue to look at other platforms like consoles as another opportunity for that. And then I can't understate how important Universes Beyond is, and how much early success we've seen in crossovers like we did last year with D&D, which at the time was our best-selling summer set ever. And then what we did most recently with Warhammer 40K, which, as Cynthia mentioned, is on its third demand-triggered reprint. Like, we can't keep up with the demand there. And that's just a great way to kind of engage that Warhammer fan base in a very similarly deep and lore-rich game, and get them activated with us. And we see a lot of upside for that, particularly with big mega brands like Lord of the Rings, that we think will be important. And trust me, we have a lot more plans for that, and some exciting news that I think we'll be able to share with our fans soon. So Magic's a deep single quadrant strategy. D&D, when I go to cocktail parties and I say, and people ask me what do I do, what I used to say is, hey, I was president of Wizards of the Coast, and they'd say, what's that? And I'd say, well, we make Magic the Gathering, and then we make Dungeons and Dragons. I'd have maybe a 3 in 10 hit rate on people understanding what Magic was, but if I did, I would have an incredibly deep conversation, and the cocktail party would effectively be over for all other participants. Or like for D&D though, it was 10 out of 10. Everyone knows D&D. Everyone grew up with it in the 70s and 80s, played the video games in the 90s and early aughts, and knows it's a cultural phenomena right now. And so, like, the D&D strategy, if the Magic strategy is a deep single quadrant strategy, the D&D strategy is a broad 4-quadrant strategy, where we have this powerful brand that has similar awareness to like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. And we're going to imbue it with blockbuster entertainment like we have with the movie coming up, true AAA high-end gaming like we're going to have with Baldur's Gate 3 next year. And then just an amazing set of products that we will activate as Hasbro across our blueprint, whether that's what we're doing at D&D Beyond, what we're doing at hobby stores with new books and accessories, or what our consumer products team and licensing team are doing to build out a host of new collectibles and toys and games for a more casual fan. So as excited as I think Cynthia and I are for Magic's growth potential over the coming mid and long term, I think D&D could be a real new leg in the stool.
What's the 4th quadrant?
For our gaming portfolio as a whole, and for Wizards specifically.
That was great. Thank you. And I promised 30 to 40-minute call, but let's take one more question, and that's it. I'm trying to actually scan some questions to make sure I'm incorporating.
Oh, please take our
what
question.
I'm getting by email as well. And you already addressed that in some ways, right? Next year, Hasbro has a much better film slate, including the scheduled release of Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves on March 31st, I think, 2023. How do you define success with that film outside of the obvious kind of movie proceeds and upside to that economics? What would it mean for the D&D franchise? How do you define that success?
To me, the D&D film is the first big light up opportunity for that powerful 4-quadrant brand. The D&D film should, by all accounts, we feel like it's going to have a healthy box office. It's going to have significant marketing. Paramount, prior to the latest Transformers, Rise of the Beast trailers that just released last week, D&D was on track to be one of the top viewed trailers ever by Paramount. Transformers took that honor most recently, so we're still happy about that. But I think we're going to be able to light up D&D awareness. We're going to be able to activate that awareness with post products at retail, gaming, and online. And then we're going to follow it up. We're going to follow it up with a host of video games that we license out and work with like great partners like Larian, with Baldur's Gate 3 that we develop ourselves. And then follow that up with a host of new entertainment. Like, to me, Dungeons and Dragons is the real poster child for Blueprint 2.0, our overall corporate engagement story, which is doubling down on play, supercharging play with great storytelling and entertainment, and focusing on a category that we're an early leader in, the best innovator in, and have every right to win and grow our profitability and grow our return to shareholders. So consider me long on D&D.
Oh, fantastic. That's a great note to end this call on. And we are actually
all right, chat. We're gonna
for 40 minutes, so I apologize for that. I think
we're gonna recap a lot,
so don't leave. Call here. Thank you so much. This was great, Chris, Cynthia, Debbie. Thank you so much for making this possible, and thanks everyone for joining.
Arpine, thanks so much, and have a happy holiday.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care, everyone.
All right, chat. All right, so let's chat. First thoughts, initial thoughts. That was a complete disaster. They were more disconnected than I ever could have dreamed that they were disconnected. Lots of things to go through. It was more than a nothing burger. Chat, like, man, there's a lot in there of negative, I think. Like, all right. So, I don't even know where to start. I want to listen back. I want to go back to this 35-minute part and listen to the secondary market values and go through that a little bit. This was basically 35. Let's see. Can we get back here?
I think that concerns you.
All right, so let's listen to the question. We're going to listen to the question.
Continuing to expand our footprint at retail globally, e-commerce as well.
Cynthia, maybe this is still for you. There has been some chatter, kind of secondary market for these cards, and that values are coming down because you're printing too much. Is that something that you keep track of? Is that something that concerns you?
First and foremost, Magic is a deep and strategic game that is played in hobby stores, on kitchen tables, and online.
Okay, first and foremost, Magic is a game that's meant to be played. Yes, I agree with you. Super important. And to all those who complain in my YouTube videos often that I only care about values, it is a game, but it is not a legacy card board game. It is not. There are games that you can pay $30 for the entire thing and then go and pick up the product and have all the cards. That's great. Those are also games. But there is an ecosystem for Magic that includes local game stores, it includes consumers, it includes people who put their money into the game. And so you have to have some form of respect for the secondary market, and you have to have some form of respect for those local game stores of which you built your business upon. And so I hate that first initial reaction to, well, Magic's just a game. It doesn't matter what the prices are. Magic is a game that's been meant to be played at the kitchen table. I completely agree with you, but this is the same company that's selling you $1,000 cards. So obviously there is some sort of secondary market value that matters in order to uphold the game. They didn't just like print a bunch of cards and send it to you in a $30 booster pack that has every single card that you need to play. This is a game, first and foremost. I'm all in on that. all in on this being a game, but it's also an economy. It's also an ecosystem that has people who rely on it to feed their family, to support their business, to run their economy, that have done that for 30 years. I'm not even talking about me. I'm talking about the entire economy that's been here before. Netrunner doesn't have a secondary market and nobody cares about it now. Yep, I get exactly. This is the point. So let's listen to the continue. Sorry for my rant.
So our goal is to continue to grow that player base. And as I said previously, we print and reprint products to meet demand from our players. Magic will be
Okay, so they print and reprint to make demand to their players. So she's about to tell you they do an initial wave and then they do a kind of more print to demand where the distribution will say, we want to buy more boxes as a result of stores calling us and saying, yes, we want that. That is probably still true. I think an accurate way to do this.
Our first billion-dollar brand this year. And we're growing that brand ahead of the industry and pushing the boundaries of where we can take the product. More often than not, we get that right, like our Universes Beyond product, Warhammer 40K, which is already on its third reprint.
So this is great. We know this. They're saying we did this right, and we more often than not do it right. So Warhammer, we put out an initial release and it was successful, and we put out wave 2 and it was successful, and now we're on wave 3 and the secondary market prices continue to hold. This is a valid statement. I actually think that this is one of the things that she said that is actually good. And I agree that a product like Warhammer should have those reprints and those waves. It's good for the LGSs. It's good for the consumers. It's good for you as a investor and a player. If you missed out on a product, to have second windows in order to get those products, that is a good thing. And something that's accurate.
Demand. And sometimes we step back and we listen to customer feedback, like we did on our recent 30th anniversary edition.
Wait, I'm going to do it again. We're going to listen back. You can go back 3 seconds, back 15 seconds.
Like our Universes Beyond product. Magic will be our first billion-dollar brand this year. And we're growing that brand ahead of the industry and pushing the boundaries of where we can get the product. More often than not, we get that right.
Like
our Universes Beyond product, Warhammer 40K, which is already on its third reprint. Demand. And sometimes we step back and we listen to customer feedback, like we did on our recent 30th anniversary edition, where we scaled back the expected supply to assure a great collector experience. Reprint due to demand. And sometimes we step back and we listen to customer feedback, like we did on our recent 30th anniversary edition, where we scaled back the expected supply to assure a great collector experience. Now that
where we scaled back the additional supply to ensure a great collector experience. We listened to the feedback, like the Magic 30th anniversary, where we scaled back the supply to create a collector experience. What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? Let's listen to it one more time in case you're
that decision. And sometimes we step back and we listen to customer feedback, like we did on our recent 30th anniversary edition, where we scaled back the expected supply to assure a great collector experience. Now, that decision might not.
Listen. Oh my gosh. To claim that you listen to the consumers and that what you thought, this is what she just said. Listen, chat. This is what she just said. She said that Wizards of the Coast listened to the consumers, and what they heard was that the consumers wanted Wizards to scale back the supply of Magic 30th Anniversary Edition. I'm not saying it. I am telling you what she just said. This is not my opinion. What she just said is that Wizards of the Coast listened to the consumers, and what they heard was that consumers wanted them to scale back the supply of the Magic 30th product. How tone deaf can you get? How absolutely tone deaf and stupid can you be to think that that is what we wanted as consumers, was for you to scale back the $1,000 product that nobody could afford and nobody wanted anyway? Oh my gosh. All right, let's see what she said to that.
Not have been great for us in the short term financially, but it was definitely the right call for the long-term health of the brand, and it's good for our fans. Now, we applied to assure a great collector experience. Now, that decision might not have been great for us in the short term financially, but it was definitely the right call for the long-term health of the brand, and it's good for our fans.
Then she says that was the right call for the long term. This was the right call for the long term health of the brand. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely wild. That was just her talking about Magic 30th. Wow, chat. Am I just lost? Am I just lost? Am I wrong on this? I cannot feel more disconnected. I cannot feel like they are more disconnected from what customers felt and experienced with Magic 30th. Like, I can't even imagine. If you would have been like, Louis, what would you expect them to say about Magic 30th? I could have come up with 100 different theories. This would not be one of them. 100 different theories I could have come up with. This would not have been that theory that they would do. Oh, all right. Do you guys want to listen to what else she said? What do you want to do? You want to keep going? Listen to what else she said on that spot. Wow, there's 500 of you guys here. I had no clue. That's awesome. She is saying we would have made more if we printed more, but we were trying to help the fans. Keep going. All right, you want to keep going in that segment?
Now, we do understand that some players focus on the collectible trading aspects of our product, and we are always thrilled to see players enjoying and valuing our product for years after the initial release. But we don't participate in secondary market activity for Magic products, nor do we derive any revenue from trading or selling. What we do hear from some of our WPNs.
We don't participate in secondary market. What did she say? I don't want to misquote her. Back 15 seconds.
Product for years after the initial release. But we don't participate in secondary market activity.
Secondary market activity. We don't participate in secondary market activity. At the core of a reprint, is that not participating in secondary market activity? So when I go here and I go to Secret Lair, I don't know, is it secretlair.com? Probably not. Secret Lair. When I go here and I go to Secret Lair, oh gosh, that's TCG. God, do they not buy their, like, all right. When I go here and I go to Secret Lair and I see a card that hasn't been reprinted, let's go with the ripped off Sorcery's artwork, right? Shout out to Sorcery. Let's go with, let's go with, what's the mythic here? Temporal Manipulation. And we take a look at Temporal Manipulation. When was that last printed? Temporal Manipulation. So when you see this, how is this not participating in the secondary market sales? Because they're creating a new card? Sure, they have the ability to like create new cards and then it's not technically secondary market. But like this is 100% engaging in the secondary market and they literally price them based on that. Like, what? We don't participate in secondary market activity. Okay, technically you're right, they don't. But like, come on.
For Magic products, nor do we derive any revenue from trading or selling. What we do hear from some of our WPN stores that trade and sell cards after initial sale is that, like any market or any other collectible product, some products and individual cards do become more collectible than others, and values can change over time.
Yes. Thank you for telling us what trading card games do.
Due to a multitude of external factors, many entirely unrelated to the number of cards printed.
Okay, no, this is the stat. This is the statement that is the dumbest thing that has ever been said ever on the history of this channel, and that's saying something. You guys have watched the podcast. Wait, we gotta go back. You gotta hear it twice.
Now, we have no individual cards do
Ready?
become more collectible than others, and values can change over time due to a multitude of external factors, many entirely unrelated to the number of cards printed.
So she's saying that there's a lot of factors that are completely unrelated to the number of cards printed. This goes against the absolute basics of supply and demand. If you print more, there is more for the supply, for the demand. There's more supply to meet the demand. If you print less, there's less supply to meet the demand. It's like, why would you ever say this? Entirely unrelated to the number of cards printed. It's entirely related. It is 100% related to the number of cards you printed. Like, holy moly. Yeah, that was okay. Whew. All right, a couple more. Let's finish up this segment.
We have no indication that there has been any broad negative changes to interest in trading or post-purchase selling of Magic products. It could be easy for someone who is unfamiliar with our pre-release sales strategy to draw a negative conclusion about changes in resale values shortly after the release.
Like, I don't understand who she's targeting here.
But the truth is that Magic products are regularly...
Okay, so she's targeting the Bank of America statement here. Okay, listen back to that and remember Bank of America came out and said they are printing too many cards and that's why the value of the card. I think that's what she's talking about.
Someone who is unfamiliar with our pre-release sales strategy to draw a negative conclusion about changes in resale values shortly after the release. But the truth is that Magic products are regularly put on sale early, exclusively through our WPN stores, as part of a pre-release program that is designed to encourage in-store play at those stores.
Listen, nobody in the community is complaining about cards of current sets being too inexpensive. As somebody who sells and has a, I don't know, not amazing, 8,000 card inventory on TCG Player, I am not complaining that Magic singles don't sell on release and that kind of thing. That is not a complaint. The complaint is things like this. The complaint is things like, where I thought I had it up here. The complaint is things like New Capenna collector boxes on TCG Player, or on eBay, on Amazon, sorry. Boxes for $150 for at one point $122. That is what people are complaining about because at the time that my price as a store is higher than this. And that is what people are complaining about. It's not about the singles in the set being reprinted too much or not having value on release. This is what she doesn't understand. It's that you sell product to a store or you sell, and then later on you go direct to consumer at $30 less than the price for a store. And it gives stores zero confidence in the future products. This is just like, it's complete and utter unknowledge or an absence of knowledge of what the actual consumer and stores say. And then they come out later, she comes out later and she says, no, like we've been interviewing local game stores and she talked about this earlier, right? This is 80% of stores are growing or equal to last year's growth in their business. Listen, I have no clue how they came up with this number, but I can tell you that I probably sell more booster boxes now of Magic. That makes sense. There are more players. There's a growth in that whole thing, but the profit per booster box is incredibly low or way lower than it was 3 years ago or 2 years ago. People don't buy booster boxes for more than what we get them for at stores. So 80% of stores growing or equal to last year. My gut says that they are just using gross revenue and not profit, and that they are using probably if I were them, and how I would get this data is to go to distribution and ask distribution what percentage of product our store is ordering and that kind of thing. Man, yeah, stores have no reason to order from distribution. This just seems completely tone deaf. Collector box on TCG Player, $112. That's insane. Talking about pre-sales and WPN stores. Like, I don't know, man. Like pre-sales and WPN stores. I know they survey stores. I know I get that data too. I would be very surprised if that has much to do with like number, like stores. If you say I only had 8 people at my pre-release, that results in you getting 8 boxes for pre-release next time. So I would highly doubt if that info is correct. Yeah, fees to play in store. That's the future for sure. All right, what else did we miss on this? Oh, Dr. Cox's cocktail party. When I go to cocktail parties, everybody knows about D&D. And we have a quadrant with 3 sections in our brand. Oh man, that's funny. All right, what else do you guys want to talk about? Anything else? All in all, typical, like, hey, we know what's going on. This is the Wikipedia article of what Magic the Gathering is. Plateau of growth in 2014. They've 3x since 2016. That includes a lot of arena stuff. Dr. Cox would be known as Dr. Quadrant. Oh yeah, beginning of the meeting was basically like, this is what Magic the Gathering is. Oh, Hasbro stock started at 60. What's it at now? 60. Okay, so nothing changed. This is, there are 50 million Magic, or what did they say? 50 million players to date, 10 million registered players. We'll be doing the podcast on Friday. Hey, everyone, make sure you're subscribed and hit the like button. I appreciate you guys being here. We've been having a lot of fun. We'll be talking about this on the podcast on Friday for sure. So if you're not subscribed, if you haven't hit the like button, that would mean a lot to me. We're going to keep making hopefully great Magic content and continuing to talk about this stuff. So I'm sure you'll see videos on a lot of all this. Yeah, this will be left up. You can watch it back. Bold return to in-person play, 75% of pre-pandemic numbers. That was actually pretty good. This is my favorite. Largest Magic event in history. It was such an encouraging and fun event, everyone. The largest event in history. Really encouraging and fun. Everything went well. Everything was great. Everything was fine. This was the most encouraging and great Magic the Gathering event ever. There was no problems. There was no issues. The community had great feedback for us. The most amazing Magic event in history. This is Vegas at the Command Zone tables, of which they were charging $350 to play for the weekend at these tables, and nobody did it, and instead they found tables to play. So it was such an encouraging and fun fan event though. They're doing 4 more of those next year. They really leaned into Universes Beyond in this. If you didn't catch that, they did that a lot. They want to monetize the digital aspects of Magic assets. Hybrid players are better revenue. We all know this. This is not super interesting data. Lord of the Rings set's going to be on Arena if you missed that. Oh, price elasticity of a customer. So they basically talked about this a little bit. We were very aware of the pressure the consumer is under. But then they put it on paper products, and they were like, the increase is due to paper products. Yeah, okay. Listen, it doesn't cost that much to make a Magic booster box. It's not that expensive. The profit margin that they see on a booster box is absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. you have to make the argument if you want to justify the distribution price of a booster box. Let's call it $90 to $100. You have to say, if you're Wizards, it's expensive to do the artwork, it's expensive to design the set, it's expensive to maybe transportation could be in there, but the price of the actual physical booster box is super cheap. That is not the yeah. A lot of new Crosswalk says this, that a lot of new TCGs come to the market, and based on the price of that, like if a new TCG can get you a booster box for $50 to $60, then Magic can get you a booster box for $50 to $60. So that is to put this on paper is expensive is ridiculous. They did say they don't want to increase price again, which is great. 6 tentpole releases. Oh, the best collectible product line, according to that lady, is Secret Lair, everyone. If you didn't catch that. She didn't mention collector booster boxes as the collector product line. She mentioned, and get this, Secret Lair. That is your This tells you everything you need to know about how Magic the Gathering views collectability. They view collectability as print to demand. As soon as you go on to secretlair.com and you order as many as you want, that is collectible. That is what collectible is for Magic the Gathering. That is wild. They did say they're going to put 2 months in between the tentpole sets. Micro sets in between. That's fine. Too many cards. Most of our releases are print to demand. We support customers that want to play. It's all about play. Post-launch sales remain unchanged since 2021 to 2022. That's actually good info. Like, so if you think basically what she's saying, what's a product that came out in 2021? Ikoria is basically the same long-term print run as the new Magic sets. That's basically what she's saying. All right, then we got into the secondary market stuff. Anyway, chat, this has been a lot of fun. I'm going to probably go eat lunch with my wife and kids. But make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're here. We will be chatting about this on the podcast tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So make sure if you want to hear actually more condensed takes on that, I'll leave this video up. If you want to take it back and watch through, it starts about the 20-minute mark. Please make sure you're subscribed and that you hit the like button. That means a ton to me. And I am so glad to spend this time with you guys and hang out with you guys. Thank you for the 450 or so of you guys that are here and who have been watching with me. That means a ton to me. And we will see you again next video. Hey, really quick, make sure that you remember to be kind to the people that are around you. Today, you're going to interact with people that only you get to interact with them. Nobody else in the world gets to interact with the same people that you get to interact with today. You're the only person in the world that will interact with John and Jill and Frank and Mike. You're the only person in the world that will get to interact with those people. So remember to take advantage of that. Remember to be kind to those people. Remember to make an impact in their life today. And don't just worry about your own personal stuff and your own drama, but actually care for people and be kind and take some time to ask some questions about their life. What if you're the first person that's asked somebody, hey, how's work this week? Hey, how you doing? How's your marriage? How's your wife? How's your kids? You could be that person for somebody, and that would mean a ton to them. So remember to be kind to the people around you, and remember that you are the only person who gets to interact with the people, and that means that you matter and that you have value, and you have value to the people around you. So make sure that you interact with them with kindness and with grace and with love. And remember, hit subscribe and like, and make sure you join us tomorrow for the podcast. It's going to be fire, baby. So hopefully you have yourself a good day. Be kind to the people around you. We'll see you again next video.